Welcome to the thrilling world of corporate espionage. Family, your support fuels our tales. Quick question: NYC Boroughs or beyond? Drop your location now. Story time. Late sun sliced through the Vertex Corp Tower's windows, casting shadows across Mark Olson's corner office. A panoramic Manhattan view feeling tight as he hunched over acquisition report. Screen glow reflected off his glasses, highlighting corporate battle lines around his eyes. A notification pinged. Board meeting rescheduled. Next week. Mark's finger hovered over the mouse, a tremor betraying his calm. EVP of Operations. This was his moment. CEO Richard Miller's retirement last month. The upcoming vote. Supposed to be a formality. Heels clicked on marble. Sarah Jenkins, his assistant of 8 years, appeared. Gray blazer perfect. Thick folder clutched. Her mood reading uncanny. Quarterly marketing numbers, Sarah said. Folder on mahogany. Hesitation. Usually steady hands fidgeting pearl a necklace. Sir. Board meeting moved. Mark leaned back. What aren't you saying? Sarah. She glanced back, closing the door. Talk. Jason Sterling's private board meetings. Emily Carter and David Chun. Dinner with him at the grill last night. Jason Sterling, marketing's golden boy. Tailored suits. Harvard MBA. Making waves since joining 18 months ago. Jason's ambitious. Mark said. Neutral. Networking is natural. Sarah's voice dropped. Not just networking. He's gunning for your position. Before Mark could reply, Jessica Hayes, his wife of 8 years, marketing director, walked past. No glance his way. Stilettos clicked, purposeful. Designer suit, junior execs watching. Mrs. Olson seems preoccupied, Sarah observed. Mark's jaw tightened. That's all. Sarah, thanks. Alone. Bottom drawer. Framed ultrasound. Grainy image. Exactly 1 year ago. Their baby. Their future. Lost 3rd month. Jessica withdrew. Work her refuge. Home. A hollow space of silences and separate dinners. Phone buzzed. Jessica. Working late? Don't wait up. Drive home felt longer. Sunset. Amber and purple. Unnoticed. Mind replaying Jason Sterling. Subtle meeting interruptions. Strategy questions. Positioning himself as innovative alternative. Dark house. Light in bedroom. Upstairs. Drawer sounds. Jessica and walk-in. Methodically packing Prada overnight bag. Anniversary gift. Going somewhere? Mark asked. Leaning in doorway. Jessica didn't turn. Folding silk blouse. Out of town. Weekend and business trip. She faced him. Warmth. Gone. Personal trip. Ooh, Jason Sterling. Question hung like smoke. Jessica's laugh. Cold. Brittle. Always good at connecting dots. Mark. Made you successful at work, but you can't control who I sleep with anymore. Words hit hard, but composure maintained. How long? Doesn't matter. Zipping the bag decisively. This marriage is just paper now. Has been since. Trail off. Hand unconsciously touching stomach. Then dropping. Jason's taking me to his beach house. Until Sunday night. Doorbell chimed downstairs. Cheerful tone incongruous. Jessica brushed past. Bag in hand. Mark followed. Watching her open front door. Jason Sterling. Leaning against frame. Casual arrogance. Smirk widened seeing Mark. Charcoal suit perfect. Copper hair styled just so. Luxury magazine cover. Mark. Hope you don't mind me borrowing your wife for the weekend. Arms snaked around Jessica's waist. Possessive. We'll be spending some wild nights at my little getaway. You understand. Sometimes a woman needs different opportunities. Double meaning clear. Mark watched them walk to Jason's Tesla Model S. Jessica not looking back. Electric hum faded into night, leaving him alone in doorway of empty house. Home office. Scotch. 2 fingers. Didn't drink. Laptop. Started working. Hours ticked by until dawn. Gray sky. Saturday morning, soft rain patter. Third coffee. Doorbell rang. Sarah Jenkins. Port. Waterproof portfolio case. Business expression. Sir, apologize for home visit, but couldn't wait until Monday. Followed him to office. Practical shoes leaving wet prints on hardwood. Gathering information for months, since Jason Sterling showed unusual interest in your quarterly reports. Opened portfolio. Documents across desk. Emails. Company letterhead. Surveillance photos. Meeting minutes. Financial reports. Paper trail of betrayal. Jason's been planning this since joining, Sarah explained, pointing to dates. He and Mrs. Olson, working together to undermine your position. Look at these project reports, manipulating data, taking credit for your initiatives, building a case for Jason to take CEO. Mark examined damning email chain. Jason and Emily Carter, youngest board member. They've been thorough, but not thorough enough. Sarah pulled out final document. Dated internal memo. Mark's eyes widened slightly. Crucial mistake. Sir, time we used it. Rain fell outside, but office atmosphere changed. Defeat to purpose. Shock to strategy. Sarah, he said. Surveillance photo of Jason and Jessica entering private dining room at Pierce. Call Beth Morgan an internal audit. Meeting first thing Monday. And get me John Davis from legal. Already done, sir. Sarah's efficient smile. Hint of satisfaction. They'll meet you 7 at La Parisienne. Away from prying eyes, Sarah gathered documents. Mark moved to window, raindrops racing down glass, distorted reflections. Past year playing out, Jessica's withdrawal, Jason's moves, board member allegiances shifting, too consumed by personal loss to see professional threat. Sir, Sarah paused at door. Something else. Jason's beach house, not just private residence, company property for client meeting. Writing off personal trips as business expenses for months. Mark nodded slowly. Reflection in window. First hint of smile. Thank you, Sarah, for everything. Of course, sir. Hesitated, then added. They thought they were clever, playing both angles. But they forgot something important. What's that? Chess. Queen might be powerful, but overlooked pawns often determine the game. After she left, Mark returned to desk. Private email, composing messages to keyboard members, fingers flying across keyboard, renewed purpose. Jason and Jessica orchestrated impressive betrayal, but forgot first rule of corporate warfare. Never underestimate a man with nothing left to lose. Worked through a weekend, building counter strategy piece by piece. Each document Sarah brought revealed new deception layers, but also opportunities. Jason's plan had fatal flaw. Assumed Mark too proud or shocked to fight back. Sunday evening, distant Tesla purr. Mark watched from study window. Jason dropping Jessica off. Tan. Relaxed. Weekend back. Using key to enter house. Heels on marble foyer echoed through empty rooms. Had a good weekend. Mark called out. Not moving from study. Jessica appeared in doorway. Guard it. Don't start. Mark, we both know this marriage over since miscarriage. Just finally doing something about it. Sleeping with the man trying to take my job? Mark asked. Jason has vision, she countered. Voice defensive. Sees opportunities. You're too conservative. Board sees it too. Next week's vote formality. Mark turned to face her fully, noting unconscious step back. Probably right about marriage being over. But Jessica, he held her gaze. You might want to review company policies about interpersonal relationships between departments, especially involving directors and potential CEOs. Something flickered in her eyes. First hint of uncertainty. Are you threatening me? Not at all. Just professional advice. Colleague. You might want to prepare for tomorrow's emergency board meeting. Here it's going to be quite interesting. Jessica's heels clicked rapidly, leaving study. Weekend bag bumping against doorframe in haste. Upstairs, doors slammed. Mark remained at desk, calmly reviewing presentation. One final time. Phone buzzed. Text from Sarah. Everything's in place for tomorrow. Beth and John, fully prepared. Mark sent back simple thank you. Shutting down computer. Tomorrow would change everything. Not just him and Jessica, but entire company. Jason Sterling played clever game, using personal betrayal to facilitate professional destruction, but made crucial mistake. Assumed Mark would play by old rules. Night settled around house, shadows lengthening. Mark sat and studied, listening to Jessica's movements upstairs. Each sound, drawers opening, fingers sliding, shoes dropping, marked another piece of their life together being packed away. Unlike Friday night, these sounds didn't wound him, fueled his resolve. Pulled out phone, sending final email to Richard Miller, current CEO. Richard, regarding tomorrow's emergency board meeting, I have concerns about marketing's recent performance requiring immediate attention. Prepared comprehensive overview. You might want legal present. Reply came within minutes. Understood. Had own concerns. See you night. 00 sharp. Upstairs, Jessica's footsteps gone quiet. Through study window, silhouette in bedroom, phone to ear, no doubt warning Jason. Let them prepare, he thought. Some betrayals couldn't be defended against. Opened desk drawer. Last time, looking at ultrasound photo, marked beginning of their end. Tomorrow would bring different kind of loss for Jessica. One she orchestrated herself. Thought brought no joy, only grim necessity. Night stretched ahead, little sleep, plenty of time to ensure every detail in place. In 12 hours, carefully constructed world Jason and Jessica built would begin to crumble. From ruins, Mark would build something stronger, lasting. Outside, city lights twinkled like distant stars, indifferent to human drama unfolding in their glow. Somewhere in those lights, Jason Sterling proudly celebrating what he thought would be crowning achievement. By this time tomorrow, he'd learn important lesson about price of betrayal. Mark closed ultrasound photo in desk drawer. Last time. Tomorrow wasn't about revenge, about justice. Kind served in boardrooms and balance sheets, through careful preparation and perfect timing. Game about to change. Only one player knew all rules. Morning fog clung to La Prison's windows, turning bustling street into gray blur. Mark Olson arrived exactly 7:00. Corner booths, clear view of entrances. Coffee shop's early morning calm suited purpose, far from Vertex Corp politics and prying eyes. Beth Morgan, head of internal audit, already waiting, laptop open, folders precisely arranged on table, wire-rimmed glasses caught soft lighting. Looked up from screen, expecting this meeting for weeks. Beth said, "Have you?" Mark settled, nodding thanks to waitress bringing espresso. Jason Sterling's numbers never added up. Beth's fingers tapped steady rhythm on particular folder, but needed someone executive level, take interest before formal investigation. Bell above cafe door chimed as John Davis entered, shaking raindrops from umbrella. Company's lead counsel looked more suited for courtroom than coffee shop. Tailored pinstripe suit slid into booth next to Beth. Grave expression. "Hope you realize what you're undertaking," John said, accepting coffee from waitress. Going after Jason Sterling means taking on half the board. He's been quite persuasive with his vision for company's future. "Show me everything," Mark replied. Pulling out laptop, Beth opened first folder. Documents across table. Marketing department's ROI figures caught attention 3 months ago. Look at these quarterly reports. Pointed to highlighted sections. They're claiming 300% return on Asia-Pacific expansion, but cross-reference with actual market penetration. They're double-counting successes. Mark finished scanning numbers, hiding failures under different cost centers. Exactly. Beth pulled up spreadsheet on laptop. Every major marketing initiative under Jason's leadership shows same pattern. Take credit for organic growth. Inflate success metrics. Bury failures in departmental overhead. John leaned forward. Coffee forgotten. That's not worst of it. Remember Beach House. Jason took your wife this weekend. Pulled out phone, showing Mark property listing. Registered as company asset. Supposedly client meetings and corporate retreats. But Mark prompted. But only clients who've stayed there are Jason's personal guests. Writing off everything, utilities, maintenance, even wine cellar, as business expenses. Got records at least 6 different women he's entertained there, all company employees. Implications hung heavy in morning air. Beth pushed glasses up nose. Habit Mark recognizes tell for more to say. Something else, pulling out another file. Jason's been systematically taking credit for your operational improvements. Remember supply chain optimization project last quarter saved us $12 million. Mark's voice tight. Marketing's reports show it as their initiative. Claimed savings from innovative approach to vendor relationships. But I've got original project documents, your signature, your team's analysis, everything. John's phone buzzed, glanced at it, eyebrows rising. Richard Miller just confirmed tomorrow's emergency board meeting. 9:00. Yeah, perfect timing. Mark said. Mind mapping moves ahead. Beth, I need every irregularity documented, every false claim tracked back to source. John, get me everything on beach house property records, expense reports, security footage if it exists. Already done. Beth patted stack of folders, building this case since Jason started pushing inflated ROI numbers. Only thing I lacked was executive support to move forward. Now you have it. Mark took sip of espresso, bitterness matching mood. What about David Chen? Will CFO back these findings? David's been asking questions about marketing's numbers for months. John confirmed. He'll verify everything once presented formally. And there's more. Emily Carter from HR reached out to me last week. Apparently, Jason's relationship with Jessica isn't his first indiscretion. Cafe begun to fill with morning commuters. Chatter creating white noise around booth. Mark watched young couple at counter. Woman leaning into partner's space. Body language speaking trust and connection. Pushed away thoughts of similar moments with Jessica. Jason's getting sloppy. Beth observed. Organizing documents into presentations. Thought having board support made him untouchable. Started leaving paper trails. No, Mark corrected. He got arrogant. There is a difference. Pulled out phone, showing them texts received from Sarah that morning. My assistant's been tracking his meetings with board members. He's convinced Emily Carter and 3 others to back him for CEO. John's expression darkened. Emily's young, ambitious. Jason probably promised her COO position once he takes over, which makes this all the more critical, Mark said, standing. I need everything ready for tomorrow morning. Every claim documented, every number verified, every witness prepared to speak. The next 12 hours passed in blur of preparation. Mark's home office became war room, Sarah coordinating between Beth, John, and other trusted allies. By Sunday evening, assembled ironclad case against Jason Sterling's machinations. Monday morning arrived, unexpected sunshine. Weekends rain giving way to clear sky. Mark arrived at Vertex Corp hour early, noting Jason's Tesla already in reserve spot. Golden Boy preparing defense. Boardroom filled slowly. Richard Miller sat at head of table. Expression unreadable. Reviewing agenda. Emily Carter, board's youngest member, entered with David Chen, heads close together in the whispered conversation. Other board members filtered in, tension in room building with each arrival. Jason Sterling strode in 5 minutes late. Weekend tan glowing under fluorescent lights. Took his seat, confidence of man believing he'd already won, barely acknowledging Mark's presence. Jessica slipped in moments later, choosing seat far down table, eyes fixed on tablet. Before we discuss succession, Richard began, voice cutting through murmur. We have some concerns about marketing's recent report. Jason rose smoothly, adjusting Italian silk tie, happy to address any questions about my department's performance, as you'll see from our latest figures. Actually, Mark interrupted, standing with own presentation folder. I have some figures of my own to share. Nodded to Sarah. who began distributing thick packets to each board member. These documents show a pattern of fraudulent reporting, misappropriation of company resources, and systematic deception. Room fell silent as board members opened packets. Jason's tan seemed to fade slightly. Glancing at contents page. Page 1 shows marketing's reported ROI figures for past 6 quarters. Mark continued, voice steady. Page 2 shows actual numbers, verified by internal audit. Beth stood, laser pointer highlighting specific discrepancies. Marketing has been double counting successes and concealing failures. Asia Pacific expansion, for example, shows 300% return, but includes organic growth from operations and inflated market penetration numbers. David Chen, CFO, leaned forward. These numbers match irregularities my team flagged last quarter. We've been trying to reconcile these discrepancies for months. Jason's chair scraped back as he stood. These are baseless accusations. Our department's success speaks for itself. The board has seen our results. Yes, let's talk about results. Mark cut in. Moving to next section. John, would you explain about Beach House? John Davis rose. Legal training evident and precise tone. Property, Mr. Sterling has been using for personal entertainment, is registered as company asset. He's been writing off private trips as business expenses, including past weekend's excursion. Jessica's tablet clattered to table, quickly retrieved it, hands shaking slightly. Furthermore, John continued, we have documentation of multiple inappropriate relationships with subordinates, all conducted at company expense. Emily Carter from HR stepped forward. Having entered silently during presentation, my office has received several complaints about Mr. Sterling's behavior, all properly documented and investigated. Jason's confidence cracked. This is a witch hunt. Emily, you've seen our department's innovation firsthand. Tell them about supply chain improvements. You mean the supply chain improvements? Mark clicked to next slide, showing project documents bearing his signature. The ones my operations team implemented last quarter. Same ones your department claimed credit for. Emily Carter, paler with each revelation, cleared throat. I moved for immediate vote of no confidence in Jason Sterling's leadership. Jason spun to face her, betrayal written across features. Emily, we discussed this. The plan was based on lies. She finished. Voice firm. I won't stake my reputation on fraudulent numbers and unethical behavior. Jessica stood abruptly. I need to clarify something. Jason manipulated me, used our professional relationship to... Actually, Mark interrupted, pulling out phone. Played crystal clear audio recording. You can't control who I sleep with. This marriage is just paper now. Jason's taking me to his beach house. Silence absolute. Richard Miller stood. Authority filling room. I believe we've heard enough. David, please verify these numbers with internal audit. Emily, I want full HR review on my desk by end of day. John, prepare necessary documentation for termination proceedings. Richard's gaze turned to Jason. Mr. Sterling, Mrs. Olson, please wait in your offices for HR. Boardroom adjourned. Board members filed out. Mark caught Jessica's eye for a moment, saw past betrayal to woman he loved, shared dreams and grief. But that woman gone, replaced by someone choosing ambition over loyalty, deception over truth. Sarah appeared at his side, efficiently gathering presentation materials. Sir, legal needs your signature on several documents. Mark nodded, turning away from wife's pleading look. Morning sun streamed through boardroom windows, illuminating path ahead. Won this battle, not through revenge, but preparation, integrity, loyalty of people who value truth over ambition. Corporate world built on paper contract, reports, presentations, but sustained by something more valuable, trust. Jason and Jessica forgotten that fundamental truth. Now would face consequences of choices. As he walked out of boardroom, Mark felt no triumph, only quiet certainty that justice, at least in this case, would be served through spreadsheets and documentation, rather than dramatic confrontations. Sometimes, he reflected, most decisive victories won not with grand gestures, but careful attention to detail, unwavering commitment to truth. John caught up with him at elevator, termination papers ready within hour, and Mark paused, choosing words carefully. That recording of Jessica, having home security system that captures audio, might raise privacy concerns. Mark allowed small smile. Except our system doesn't record audio. But they didn't know that, did they? Elevator doors closed on John's surprise laugh, carrying Mark toward the next challenge. War wasn't over, would be legal battle. PR challenges, company to rebuild. But for now, he'd won most crucial battle, one for truth. In his office, Sarah already coordinating with HR and legal, efficiency unmatched, managing aftermath of morning revelations, handed him fresh coffee, unasked, then paused. Sir, was it worth it? All preparation, waiting, building case. Instead of confronting them immediately, Mark looked out at city skyline, thinking of weekends spent alone, knowing where wife was, what she was doing, but choosing to wait, build irrefutable case instead of acting on emotion. In chess, he said finally, winning move isn't always most dramatic one. Sometimes it's quiet move. One opponent dismisses as insignificant. That leads to checkmate. Sarah nodded, understanding layers in response. Board reconvenes at 3. Shall I have Beth prepare operational overview you'll need as CEO? Yes, Mark replied, turning back to desk. And Sarah, thank you for seeing what they were planning, for gathering evidence, for everything. Of course, sir. She paused at door. Some people mistake kindness for weakness, loyalty for blindness. They forget strongest foundations built on trust, not deception. As she left, Mark opened laptop, ready to begin work of rebuilding what Jason's ambition and Jessica's betrayal tried to destroy. Morning's victory just beginning. Real challenge lay ahead. Transforming moment of justice into lasting change. But that was tomorrow's battle. For now, he had termination papers to sign, company to protect. Sun continued climb into morning sky, promising day of reckoning for some, renewal for others. And Mark reflected, every betrayal carried within it seeds of own destruction. Jason and Jessica planted those seeds themselves, forgetting that in corporate world, as in life, truth might be delayed, but never permanently denied. Boardroom fallen silent after vote. 12 hands raised in unison, no exceptions, no dissenting voices. Richard Miller's gavel struck polished mahogany table. Quiet finality. Board unanimously confirms Mark Olson as Chief Executive Officer of Vertex Corp. Effective immediately. Richard's voice carried weight of 25 years leadership. Congratulations, Mark. Company is in your hands now. Mark stood, accepting handshakes and congratulations with measured grace. Through glass walls, could see Sarah organizing documents at desk. Efficiency undiminished by morning's drama. On computer screen, termination papers already being formatted. Your first actions as CEO will set tone, Richard murmured, lingering after board members filed out. Make them count. Leather of Mark's new chair creaked as he settled behind CEO's desk. Morning sun streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows, casting long shadows across carpet. Laptop chimed. Incoming email from John Davis. Subject line, termination documentation urgent. Sarah appeared in doorway, tablet ready. Sir, HR has paperwork prepared for both Jason Sterling and Jessica Hayes. Security is standing by. Paused, then added, Jessica is in her office, packing personal items. Jason hasn't left conference room. Have security escort Jason out first, Mark said, pen hovering over termination papers. I want to handle Jessica's departure personally. Scratch of pen across paper echoed in quiet office. 2 signatures ending not just career, but marriage and betrayal. Through window, watch security approach conference room where Jason sat, head in hand. Weekend, tin now ashen under fluorescent light. Jason's escort from building subdued. No dramatic protests, no scene. Just broken man clutching cardboard box of personal items. Italian leather shoes scuffing against marble floors. he'd never walk again. Jessica's departure different. Mark found her in office, designer weekend bag perched on desk, methodically emptying drawers into it. Same bag packed for a weekend with Jason, now held remnants of career, looked up as he entered, fingers tracing bag's leather strap. Suppose there's no point in offering explanations now. No, Mark agreed, placing termination notice on desk. Marriage may be paper, but so is your termination notice. They both tell their own stories. Security waited discreetly by elevator as Jessica walked out, heels clicking one last time against floors of Vertex Cora. Didn't look back. Next week's brought flurry of changes. Sarah sat across from Mark in what had been Jason's office, now stripped of pretentious modern art, restored to functional elegance. Board approved all your restructuring proposals, she reported. New title: Director of Operations, sitting naturally on shoulders. Beth Morgan's promotion to EVP is official as of this morning. Mark nodded, reviewing organization charts on tablet. And Morgan Galvin arrives from West Coast office next week. Her preliminary audit of department already uncovered some interesting patterns. Sarah pulled up email and tablet, found evidence Jason attempted similar schemes at previous companies. Never quite this bold, but pattern was there. Marketing department's glass walls revealed hive of activity as restructuring took shape. Gone oversized egos and inflated numbers of Jason's era, replaced by culture of transparency and accountability Beth Morgan insisted upon. Morgan Galvin proved revelation. Former West Coast marketing director, attacked new role with surgical precision. Audit expanding beyond Jason's tenure, rooting out any lingering issues. Jason built his career on manipulation, Morgan explained during late night strategy session. Laser pointer, highlighting suspicious patterns in historical data. He starts small, taking credit for others' work, massaging numbers just enough to draw attention. By time he made big moves, he'd already conditioned everyone to accept his version of reality. Beth nodded. New EVP nameplate catching light. Classic fraudster pattern. Start with small deceptions, build to larger ones. Same pattern showed up in his expense reports. Project claims. Everything. Weeks turned to months. Spring faded into summer, then autumn. Vertex Corp stock price climbed steadily as market confidence grew in new leadership team. 40% growth under Mark's first 6 months validated every decision, every change. One crisp October morning, Sarah entered Mark's office. Stack of papers, knowing look. Divorce papers arrived. Final version, ready for signature. Place them on desk beside another document. Property records for familiar beach house development. Board approved acquisition? Mark asked, though already knew answer. Unanimously. Property's been undervalued since Jason's scandal. It'll make excellent corporate retreat center once renovated. Symbol of transformation, you might say. Mark signed divorce papers. Same pen used for termination notices months ago. Parallel wasn't lost on him. Endings and beginning, marked in ink and legal language. Phone buzzed. News alert. Headline made him pause. Former marketing executive indicted for corporate fraud. Jason Sterling's corporate past finally caught up with him. Buried an article. Familiar name. Jessica Hayes. Listed as witness for prosecution. Should we release statement? Sarah asked from doorway, already anticipating next move. Mark shook head, turning to gaze out at city skyline. View from CEO's office differed from old corner space. Wider, clearer, full of possibility, no need. We've moved on to bigger things. Eyes fell on beach house acquisition report. Property that hosted betrayal soon served greater purpose. Renovation plans already taking shape. Irony didn't escape him, transforming symbol of deception into space for corporate renewal. Afternoon sun painted city in shades of amber and gold. In the outer office, could hear Beth and Morgan discussing next quarter projections. Voices confident and clear. Sarah's desk housed small plaque. Employee of the Year, earned through loyalty and competence rather than manipulation. Success, Mark mused, fingers tracing embossed nameplate on desk, is best revenge. Words hung in air as he reviewed latest acquisition proposals. Each document, each decision, each signature moved Vertex Corp further from shadows of betrayal into future built on transparency and trust. And Jason and Jessica's betrayal given him something unexpected. Not just victory, but vision. Company they tried to manipulate now stood stronger. Culture transformed. Future secure. Deception forced necessary evolution, turning crisis into opportunity. Day wound down as autumn sunshine faded into dusk. Mark's calendar showed back-to-back meetings for next week, strategy sessions, investor presentations, planning for next quarter's growth. Rhythm of corporate life continued, but now moved to different beat. Sarah appeared one last time, placing final report on desk. Sir, renovation plans for Beach House are ready for review. Architects have some interesting proposals for space. Mark smiled, understanding symmetry of moment. Property that hosted secrets and lies become place of open dialogue and honest collaboration. Sometimes, he reflected, best response to betrayal wasn't revenge, but renewal. As night settled over city, lights flickered on in office buildings across skyline. In one corner office, CEO reviewed papers shaping company's future, each decision step further from shadows of past. View from top changed him as much as he changed company, not hardening him against trust, but teaching him to build it on stronger foundations. Ghosts of betrayal faded, replaced by solid reality of success. And truest victory, not just surviving deception, but using it as catalyst for transformation. Vertex Corp stood taller now, foundation stronger for weathering storm. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities, new decisions. But tonight, in corner office high above city, Mark Wilson allowed himself a moment to appreciate success. He had learned wasn't just about winning. It was about building something worth fighting for. Night deepened, but lights still burned in CEO's office. Work to be done. Future to build, legacy to create, best revenge. After all, wasn't just success. It was success that transformed betrayal into blessing, crisis into opportunity, endings into beginnings. In that transformation lay true measure of victory. Epilogue. 5 years later, Manhattan courtroom buzzed whispered conversations as Jason Sterling, once Golden Boy corporate marketing, stood for sentencing. Designer suits given way to department store clearance. Carefully styled copper hair, now streaked premature gray. 5 years of legal battles stripped away more than fortune. Eroded confidence that once been trademarked. Judge Eleanor Martinez adjusted glasses, reviewing verdict final time. Mr. Sterling, you've been found guilty. Multiple counts. Corporate fraud, embezzlement, financial misrepresentation, spanning 3 companies over 8 years. Your actions destroyed careers, betrayed trusts, undermined very foundation's corporate governance. In gallery, Jessica Hayes sat rigid. Testimony states witness helped seal Jason's fate. Years hadn't been kind to her either. Blacklisted major corporations following Vertex Corp scandal. Found herself working entry-level marketing positions. Smaller firm. Prestigious career reduced. Managing social media accounts. Local businesses. Court sentences. You to 8 years federal prison. Judge Martinez continued. Additional 5 years supervised release. Order to pay restitution was a poor thought. 2 million affected companies and shareholders. Jason's shoulders slumped as marshals approached. Eyes found Jessica in gallery, but she looked away, gathering off a rack blazer. Target bought handbag. Far cry from designer pieces once flaunted. Outside courthouse, reporters clustered around Beth Morgan, now CEO Vertex Corp. At 52, carried role same precision and integrity, marked her tenure as EVP. Vertex Corp has no comment on today's sentencing. She stated firmly, "Our focus remains on recent expansion, Asian markets, upcoming Tech Innovation Summit. However, we believe justice has been served." Back at Vertex Corp headquarters, now occupying 3 towers, Heart Manhattan's financial district, Mark Olson reviewed quarterly projections with executive team. At 48, transformed from betrayed husband and executive into something more, corporate legend, known for turning company's darkest moment into greatest triumph. "Morgan, walk us through marketing's numbers," he said, nodding to Morgan Galvin, whose restructuring department become Harvard Business School case study, corporate transformation. Morgan, now executive vice president, global marketing, pulled up holographic display. Reputation, ruthless transparency made her both feared and respected across industry. "We're showing 300% growth emerging markets. Real growth, not smoke and mirrors, old regime. Every number triple, verified by internal audit." Sarah Jenkins, Chief Operating Officer, smiled at reference. "Rise through Vertex's ranks-inspired mentorship program. Administrative staff, turning support roles into leadership pipelines." Speaking of transparency, Corporate Integrity Institute wants you keynote their annual conference. Mark, apparently our governance model becoming industry standard. Afternoon sun streamed through Windows executive floor, catching numerous awards lining walls. Most ethical corporation, innovation, corporate governance, leadership excellence. Each plaque marked another milestone Vertex's journey from scandal to exemplar. "Have you seen this?" Sarah asked, sliding tablet across table. Business news articles showed Jessica's latest venture, small marketing consultancy operating out of Strip Mall, New Jersey. Comments section brimmed references to Vertex scandal. Ensuring passed followed every professional move. She applied for position at Thompson Industries last month. Morgan added, "They rejected her immediately. Some bells can't be unrung." Mark waved away tablet. "Past is past. We have more interesting matters to discuss." Pulled up image corporate retreat center. Renovated beach house property where marriage effectively ended. Leadership Academy's first-class graduates next week. 20 promising managers who carry our values to new ventures. Beach House's transformation mirrored Vertex itself, stripped dark history, rebuilt into something meaningful. Modern conference rooms. Training facilities hosted hundreds rising executives, each learning real cost ethical compromises through property's own story. Later that evening, penthouse apartment overlooking Central Park. Mark reviewed email from Richard Miller, now enjoying retirement Berkshires. Old CEO still served advisor. Wisdom helped guide Vertex through post-scandal transformation. Saw news about Jason's sentencing. Richard wrote, "Reminds me something I learned over 40 years business. Success built on deception, just failure in disguise. You turned their betrayal into legacy of integrity. That's real success." Soft knock interrupted reading. Catherine's son, his wife 3 years, entered with 2 glasses wine, had city's largest charitable foundation, understood power, but unlike Jessica, wielded it with compassion rather than ambition. "Rough day?" she asked, noting news articles on screen. "Just ghosts of past being laid to rest," he replied, accepting wine. Jason's sentencing was today. 8 years. Catherine settled beside him, presence, grounding in simplicity. They'd met at corporate ethics panel, foundation work transparency, aligning with Vertex reform values, courtship deliberate, built on shared principles rather than passion alone. "I ran into Jessica last week," Catherine mentioned, tone carefully neutral. "At that small business convention Newark. She's starting over again. 5th attempt, I think." She looked diminished. Mark nodded, unsurprised. Consequences have way of compounding. Jason's fraud conviction will make her reinvention even harder. No major corporation will touch anyone connected to that level of scandal. Phone chimed. Message from John Davis, still serving Vertex Chief Counsel. Legal team just won another industry award. Corporate compliance. Transparency protocols becoming gold standard for multinational. Remember that junior executive who tried Jason's old tricks last month? John's message read, just submitted his resignation. Apparently, our ethics training videos featuring certain beach house made quite an impression. Mark smiled, remembering training program's centerpiece. Case study on Jason and Jessica's downfall, taught in very rooms where they plotted betrayal. Poetic justice had way of coming full circle. City lights sparkled beyond window. Vastly different view from one he'd had during those dark days 5 years ago. Vertex Corp grown beyond wildest ambitions. Market cap now dwarfing previous incarnation. More importantly, become testament to resilience, to power turning betrayal into breakthrough. Tablet showed another news alert. Jason, perp walk, hands cuffed, heading for prison transport. Comment section filled former colleague. Industry peers, each adding own stories, deceptions. 8 years would give him plenty time. Contemplate true cost betrayal. Jessica's fall been different. Slow descent. Professional irrelevance. Testimony against Jason spared her legal consequences, but earned different kind of sentence. An industry built on trust and reputation, she become cautionary tale. Name forever linked corporate scandal and personal betrayal. Leadership Academy Board approved your proposal. Catherine mentioned reviewing own emails. They want to expand ethics program to satellite campuses. Apparently, there's waiting list for corporate governance workshops. Irony wasn't lost on him. Very property meant host. Jason's triumph become temple. Corporate integrity. Each year, hundreds executives walked halls, learning how ambition unchecked by ethics could destroy careers, marriages, legacies. Final email arrived from Sarah. Thought you'd want to know? Jason's old marketing team at his previous company just reached out. They want go through our compliance training. Apparently his conviction sparked some soul searching. Success, Mark reflected, wasn't just about winning in a way that transformed Battlefield itself. Jason and Jessica sought victory through deception, only to become object lessons in futility. Betrayal launched movement toward corporate transparency that reached far beyond Vertex's walls. Night deepened over Manhattan. Skyline testament to ambition realized and corrupted. Somewhere in that glittering landscape, Jessica would be planning another fresh start. Jason would be beginning first night prison. Countless others would be facing own choices between integrity and expedience. But here, aftermath betrayal, Mark built something lasting, not just corporate empire, but legacy transformation. Company emerged from scandal, become beacon, proving success and integrity weren't just compatible, inseparable. Catherine raised glass quiet toast to consequences, to choices. Mark amended. Thinking paths led them all here. Jason's choice deceive, Jessica's choice betray. His own choice rebuild rather than merely revenge. And wasn't just success proven best revenge. Success transformed betrayal's bitter lessons into something noble, lasting, true. Price betrayal been high, but dividends measured wisdom and integrity would pay returns for generations to come. Outside window, Manhattan's lights rivaled stars, each one marking another story, ambition and choice, triumph and betrayal, consequences faced and lessons learned, but an own story, Mark written ending, transcended revenge, written legacy, that, more than any revenge, sweetest victory of all,